Heated exchanges were sparked in Parliament over the proposed stem cell research and therapy bill today. The government is adamant that it's on the right path with the introduction of the legislation, while some opposition members are expressing a lack of confidence in the government's ability to enforce related regulations. Our Carla Palmer has more.
Throughout his contribution, the Member of Parliament for North Eleuthera, Theo Neely, was interrupted on points of order by three of the doctors in the cabinet, all accusing him of misleading the Parliament. In his contribution, Mr. Neely spoke repeatedly to the pitfalls of embryonic stem cell therapy. However, the problem government parliamentarians had with his contribution is that embryonic stem cell therapy was not the subject being debated, but rather stem cell therapy as it relates to using a person's own stem cell tissue from another area of the body to heal or cure a problem area. Still, Mr. Neely stuck to and completed his prepared text, saying that he does not support the bill. He's not convinced that the government has the enforcement capability to ward off unethical procedures that he says could possibly arise with the passing of this bill. Member of Parliament for Marathon and Minister of Education, the Honourable Jerome Fitzgerald, says he's not sure what all the talk is all about and questioned whether there is genuine concern by members opposite. Minister Fitzgerald says the government did its homework when first confronted with the stem cell issue. In fact, Minister Fitzgerald says the stem cell therapy bill is a result of the government's desire to provide legislation and to regulate and govern the industry after approvals were granted by the Free National Movement. He said with those approvals in hand, the company had already spent $5.5 million in construction and related costs to provide stem cell therapy on Grand Bahama. According to Mr. Fitzgerald, the former administration did this with no regulations, act or legislation in place. Opposition leader, the Honourable Dr. Hubert Minnis, stood on a point of order, asking that evidence to this allegation be tabled. Still, Minister Fitzgerald noted what he referred to as the hypocrisy of the opposition and continued his contribution, saying, quote, that the government is focused and will continue to do what is right for the Bahamian people and will not be distracted, end quote. Member of Parliament for Central and South Eleuthera, the Honourable Damien Gomez, branded the former administration's actions of giving permission to conduct stem cell research and therapy without the proper regulation and lack of legislation as irresponsible and reckless. He maintains that this Christie-led government held widespread consultation on the issue with the Christian Council and the medical community before this bill was legally drafted. Member of Parliament for South Beach, Mrs. Cleola Hamilton, also supports the bill. Throughout today's debate, a reference was also made to multi-millionaire and philanthropist Peter Nygaard. The opposition continues to allege that Mr. Nygaard, as a key financial supporter of the Progressive Liberal Party government, is the principal reason why the government is pushing this legislation. Several parliamentarians denied this allegation. Minister Jerome Fitzgerald says, and I quote, "What I know of Mr. Peter Nygaard is not what people say, but what I know. That he's been a permanent resident of the Bahamas since 1984 for over 30 years. That he's contributed millions to the country's development and that he says he is a friend of the Bahamas. He has no criminal record and has not been charged with any offense. I'm not sure what all the hullabaloo is all about," end quote. Member of Parliament for Golden Gates, the Honourable Shane Gibson, noted similar thoughts, while the Member of Parliament for Montague, Richard Lightburn, amid many points of order, continued to hammer home the apparent opposition's position that the bill was being pushed in the interest of Mr. Nygaard. I'm Carla Palmer for ZNS Network News.